Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm so excited for all of you here. Welcome to the Awaken Your Inner Healer workshop. This is a 3-day live event. Today is day one. Welcome, everyone. As you are joining me live, say hello in the chat. Let me know where you're tuning in from. I see everyone who has been here waiting patiently for me to get started. Hello, Hugo and Maxine. We'll go with that one. Cheryl, Violet, Rose. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited for everyone who is joining in, everyone who's going to be catching me on the replay. This is going to be an amazing and powerful 3-day event. And as you can tell already, most likely by the name, that we are awakening your inner healer. And really, my biggest intention for all of you watching this today and over the next 3 days is that you walk away from this workshop feeling motivated, feeling excited, having a deeper level of clarity when it comes to your purpose and your path as a healer. So, throughout these 3 days, we are going to be talking about things like your healer archetype and how that influences your path, how through your healer archetype, you can discover more about your healing gifts, your specific healing gifts that then helps you and informs you when it comes to the actual specific purpose that you're here to fulfill as a healer. This is one of the most common questions and stumbling points that people come across on their journey is they're like, okay, I know that I'm here to be a healer, but how? How am I meant to bring this into the world? What does this actually look like? So we're going to be talking about that. I'm going to be sharing some guidance around how to connect with the angels and receive guidance from the angels. That's going to be day 2. I'm really excited. We're going to be doing a live guided meditation for day 2 to help you connect with the angels, help you to tap into the angelic healing frequency. And then on day 3, we're going to talk about the challenges that often come up and how to overcome those challenges, such as the fear of being seen or the fear of being judged or whatever else that comes up that has felt like it's been a huge thing that has kept you stuck. So as we go through all of that, it's going to be a really powerful experience. One of the things that is so important is that you come with an open mind, an open heart, and an open journal to be able to write down any notes, to be able to reflect, to be able to just have something there where you can write things down as we share, as we talk. If you come live, which I hope that many of you are able to come live, I kind of, move the times a little bit here and there. I mean, it's not a huge shift, but by an hour or 2 here and there to hopefully be able to accommodate different schedules. And when you join live, you'll also have the opportunity to ask questions at the end. I'm happy to answer your questions and provide guidance. So that's a really cool thing. And then the last thing is that I hope that you have signed up through the webpage that I had that I was sending out. And if not, then I will link it here. I'll actually link it right now. And for those of you who are watching on the recording, I'll have it linked for you in the description. But the reason why you want to sign up and be officially on the newsletter, on the email list for this workshop is because I'm going to be sending you a free gift either tomorrow or on the last day. I'm not sure yet when we're going to send out the free gift, but I'm going to send it out. Which, spoiler alert, it's going to be a guided meditation, guided healing with the angels. So it's going to be amazing. I'm so excited. So the link is there for anyone who needs to officially join. And yeah, I think that's it. I think we have everything covered. I think we're ready to start now. Hello, everyone. Yay, Lucy's here. Hugo is in New York City. I love it. Hi from Sweden. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I love that you are tuning in from Sweden. Candy's here. Yay. Welcome, welcome. Cheryl's from Idaho. Hello, Dean. Welcome. Oh my gosh, I am so excited for this. This is going to be powerful. So, today is day 1. And for day 1, what I have planned for us to go through is not just recognizing your calling as a healer, because I feel like, and actually we're going to do a poll right now. Let me know in the chat. Put a 1 in the chat if you already feel or know within your heart that you are a healer, that you're meant to be a healer. So put a 1 in the chat if that's you. Put a 2 in the chat if you're not sure yet if you're a healer. If you're like, maybe, like, I'm kind of interested, but I'm not really sure. If you're on that like uncertainty side, then put a 2 in the chat. Okay. And yeah, just as I thought, a lot of you guys already know. So we don't necessarily need to go into, but I will cover it briefly. Yeah, because I know that there's going to be some 2s. Yes, I love it. And if you're not sure yet, it's perfect that you're here because we're going to find out. You're about to find out. And I feel like what we're going to talk about today is going to give you more, like, kind of inch you closer towards that certainty, towards being a healer. We're going to be talking about the signs that say, okay, yes, I am a healer, or yes, this is my calling. But deeper than that, in addition to that, I also want to dive into the healer archetypes and why it's important to look at your healer archetypes and how there is this nuance that comes in when it comes to your particular breakdown of the archetypes, which I'll explain more about the archetypes, what they are, how the breakdown works. Already have done that kind of work. Yeah. And so it's like, when you understand the healer archetypes, it gives you this deeper level of understanding when it comes to your particular gifts and when it comes to how you bring through healing energy into the world. And it can even inform your, we'll call it, career path, or it can inform the path that you take when it comes to how you express those gifts into the world. So healer archetype is huge. So we're going to talk about that. And like I said, after today, it's going to give you a sense of like a little bit of a focus and direction so that when we talk about the angels specifically tomorrow and receiving angelic guidance and being able to tune into the angels and do the guided meditation, it's going to give you an understanding of how it all works together. So I'm really excited. I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but here we are. As always, as I go through this, if you have any questions along the way, post them in the chat. If you have anything that you want to share that really resonates with you, post it in the chat. Anything that I mentioned that's like, oh my gosh, like that is like a quote, post it in the chat. And then for those of you who are watching me on the recording, you can always comment below this video. As we go through, you can post multiple comments or share your biggest insight at the very end of this video if you're watching me on the recording. So let's get started. For those of you who are just joining, if you want to participate in the little poll that I just asked, put a 1 in the chat if you know that you are a healer, or you just have this feeling of like, I'm pretty sure, like I am a healer, or I feel like that's what I'm meant to be doing. Or you can post a 2 in the chat if you are uncertain and if you're kind of like on the fence and you're just like, I don't really even know. So if you're just joining, that is what we're doing. That's why there's 1s and 2s in the chat. So let's get started. So one of the biggest things that I have noticed when it comes to people who step into this calling as a healer is that it all starts with an awareness of spirituality and an awareness of their sensitivity. So before, and I'm curious to know from people who have posted 1 in the chat, if that's something that you noticed about yourself, or what was the first thing that you noticed prior to you when you crossed that threshold, when you were like, went from I don't know to, oh, I am a healer. What was the biggest turning point for you? I want to hear from those of you in the chat, if you feel called to share. From my experience, both for myself personally on my journey, as well as through the work that I've been doing for the last almost 8 years of supporting people on their path, their purpose, and stepping into their particular calling as a healer, what I've noticed is that oftentimes it starts off with a sense of awareness opening up and a curiosity that opens up. Like those are the 2 main things. It's like, oh, all of a sudden I feel like I'm aware of spirit around me, angels, guides. I notice that I'm very sensitive to energy, whether you are, align or resonate with the term empath or not. Regardless of that, you are most likely a highly sensitive person and you're very sensitive to other people's energies, their emotions, just very cognizant of collective energy as well. So you're very sensitive to those kinds of things, maybe even just sensitive to different, environments or situations. Or like, I know that for me personally, if music is too loud, like I feel like I can't feel myself talk. Like sometimes I have to be like, turn the music down, please, because this is like too much for my ears right now. It's just like, that's one of the things that really kind of irks me, is when music is too loud, especially if I'm in an environment of like wanting to like sit and talk, at dinner or whatever. That is one of the ways through my physical senses that I'm just like, no, I'm too sensitive to this. But other people have other types of sensitivities, even the clothes that you wear, or the things that you like, the way that you like products that you put on or whatever. So there's different ways, different types of sensitivity and how it shows up for us. But the key thing is that you have a sense, this sense of something beyond the physical, and a sensitivity, like I said, to others, to energies, to the environment around you, and including physically what is on you or around you. And those are the two key things. Yeah, all that you're saying. Yeah, exactly. And that's really where it starts. And so if you're here and you posted number 2, meaning that you're like, I'm on the fence, I'm not really sure, but you have this curiosity and you have this sense of like awareness and awakening to when it comes to the spiritual realms, then there's a high chance, a very high chance, that you are meant to be a healer. Now, one of the things that I also want to just define for everyone straight off the bat is, what is a healer? Because I feel like there is like a stereotypical image of what a healer is or what they do or whatever. But the term healer, in my opinion, and the way that I teach it, goes beyond that. And so the stereotypical image, and this is, I mean, I'm projecting because this is like what I used to think about healers, but I used to stereotypically think, oh, a healer is someone who's doing like hands-on healing, or who is doing, like I would think of like a Reiki healer. And so there's just like this kind of sense of like, okay, that's what's going on. That's what's happening. Like they're working with people in some way. And I used to think it was only hands-on. Like I thought it was only in person, can't do distance healing. Like I didn't know that part back in the day. What is it, like 9 years ago or whatever. But obviously things have changed and I've learned a lot along the way. And what I've also learned is that a healer goes beyond just what is a typical kind of like, okay, we're going to, I'm going to hold space for you. I'm going to do energy healing for you. That is a huge part of what a healer does, but there's also so much more. And when it comes to being a healer, at the end of the day, the key definition of being a healer is that you transmute energy, that a healer takes energy that is in one form and transforms it into another. So if they are working one-on-one with someone and someone comes to them and they're holding a lot of pain or fear or anxiety, then the healer's work is to support that person to experience a transformation or experience a transmutation of the energy so that they can experience more peace, more love, more joy. And so that process, the way that they take them through that process, is going to be very dependent on your particular archetype. It's going to be dependent on your passions. It's going to be dependent on your own personal journey and your unique gifts that you hold and the way in which you do that. And so the way that we define that, when it comes to your gifts and when it comes to your abilities, because again, like that's also something that I separate. Your healing gifts and your healing abilities are two separate things. Your healing gifts are the ways in which you express yourself, the ways in which you express divine light and love to support that transformation process. So your healing gift could be writing, it could be speaking, it could be holding space, it could be coaching, it could be anything. Like there's so many different ways. It could be through music, it could be through singing, it could be through art, it could be through, like, there's endless ways in which those gifts come alive. It's a form of expression. It's how you do it, how it comes out, how it is felt, how it is received. Your healing abilities are directly connected to your skill to channel the angels or channel spirit guides. It's your skill in being able to bring through the frequencies and bring through the healing energies. It's your skill when it comes to your clairs and how you are receiving, like your perception of the energetic information. Everyone has gifts that are unique to each person, and then everyone has the ability to develop the skills. So skills is like, I'm interested in that and I want to learn how to do it. So I'm going to study and practice and master it. Within the skill set, you will have certain skills that are just naturally stronger than others. So you might be naturally stronger in clairvoyance than clairaudience, for example. And that's fine. That's okay. You don't have to have all of those clairs fully open and fully, like awakened in order to be able to be a great healer. You are a great healer because you hold that gift already and because you have that calling. That's the key thing. That's what makes you a great healer, is the fact that you care, the fact that you want to show up, and the fact that you know that there's a light that you're here to shine. And so you're showing up for that. And you're willing to learn, you're willing to make mistakes, you're willing to get through the hard parts in order to discover more about your true self. That's what makes you a great healer. Not how good you are at seeing, through your third eye. It's not about how clear you can hear through your clairaudience. It's none of that. It's not about your ability to cure a chronic illness with the snap of your fingers. That's not what makes you a great healer. What makes you a great healer is the fact that you're willing to show up. So post in the comments in the chat right now, raise your hand if you are willing to show up. If you're like, yes, I'm here for this. I'm here to show up. I'm here to learn. I'm here to grow. Because if that's the case, then those are all the things that make you a great healer. Okay. And I want you to all know that you are great healers already, even if you don't know exactly which direction you're going in or how that exactly is going to look like or how it's meant to come through. Okay. So, yes, I love it. Everyone's saying yes, hands up. Oh my gosh, I love that pink little hand thing. I've never seen that before. That's so cool. I love it. Okay, let me see what you guys are saying here. Candy saying very sensitive for sure. All the things. A turning point would have been in my own healing journey, recognizing that I have had so much to heal. It gave me a passion and I felt called to share. Yes, I love that you mentioned that, Candy, because that's so, so true. And I actually recently did a video. I think I posted it last Friday. It was pretty recent, where I talked about the 5 signs that you are ready to be a healer. Raise your hand or let me know in the chat if anyone's watched that video. And in that video, I talk about that, how that is one of the signs, is that you have gone through your own challenge and you've gone through your own experience of moving through things and healing things that now has put you in a place where you're like, I want to help others too, or I have gained some wisdom and I need to share this with people, So yeah, I love that you pointed that out, because that is definitely another sign. Let me see here. Cheryl saying, I've done message therapy or massage therapy. Let me know. And Reiki. Yes, tones are crazy in hearing. Yeah, yes. Marissa saying same. Yes, I love you guys raising your hand. You're here for this. You're here to learn and grow and know that your willingness to show up is what makes you a great healer. I'm experiencing more of an open perspective through how you defined a healer. I'm definitely here to grow. Thank you for showing up. Yay, Violet. I'm so excited. I'm here to show up. Yes, Maxine and everyone. I love it. Okay. So those are the key things. So I want you to like sit with that, and with this definition that your role as a healer can and most likely will go beyond just the like, okay, I'm going to channel healing frequencies and kind of like hands-on healing or whatever, that there's more to it. And it comes down to your forms of expression, and it comes down to how you use your abilities. And that is all informed by the healer archetypes. So let's dive into healer archetype. Now, before we get into that, who here has done my healer archetype quiz? let me know. Raise your hand again. There's just going to be a lot of pink hands in the chat from this whole entire live stream. But if you have done the Healer Archetype quiz, let me know. If you know what your primary archetype is based on that quiz, post it in the chat. If you have not done the quiz, I will link to it right now. I prepared all these links that I knew I wanted to share with you guys. Okay. Here's the quiz. Okay, I just posted the link here. Let me see, replace pinned message. Okay, we're going to replace the pinned message now. Quiz is now at the top in the pinned message. It's a quick little quiz. It's fun. The questions are not what you might expect, but it's a really great one. And so when you go through that quiz, you'll receive an email from me that tells you what your primary archetype is. And then the other thing is that once you do this, and maybe if you did this quiz like early on, you maybe didn't receive these emails, but now I have it set up that when you do the quiz, you get your initial result. And then over the next few days, you are going to get additional emails from me that are going to explain more about the archetypes. It's going to show you an actual deeper breakdown of your archetypes by percentages, because there's 3 and they are like split through percentages. And just go into more detail about how to understand how it all fits in together depending on your percentages. It's like a whole email course in and of itself. It's actually really good. So if you have not done it, then go do that quiz. Go check out what your archetype is, and then let me know. Let me see. Yes, I've gone through deep healing myself in the past few years, and I am aware that I will never be done, but feel I'm ready to show up for others. Yes, Maxine, I love that so much. So good. So good. And that's the key thing. It's like we will never be done our healing journey. And the key reason why we will never be done is because we're human. Like that's the only reason, because you're human. As long as you are alive and you are a human, there's going to be healing for you to do. And so there's never going to be a time where it's like, okay, I'm all done. Now I'm ready to do this. It's one of those things where we have to trust that where we are in this moment is the perfect place to start. And that's a huge thing that I've seen, which we'll go into on day 3, but a huge thing that I've seen that holds people back from really fully pursuing their calling as a healer is that they're like, well, I'm not really sure yet how it's supposed to look like. So then they kind of stay in kind of freeze mode because they're waiting for more clarity. But the only way that you're going to gain more clarity is by actually beginning to pursue that path and beginning to explore and beginning to like try things out. Because once you try things out, that's when refinement happens. That's when the like course correction can happen, because now you're actually moving. Course correction cannot happen if you are standing still, because you're just standing still. So there's no need for course correction. But if you start moving and you start practicing, you start trying things, you start going over here and going over there, then it makes room for course correction, and you will always be corrected. You will always be guided to exactly where you need to go. And so the key is to just trust what that next step is, what that like next step is pulling you towards. What's that next step that you're being guided to take? And then that's going to lead you. Okay. And then course correct. All right. So let me see here. Dean is an earth healer. I love it. Cheryl said no. Okay, go check out the quiz or do it after the class today as well. You can do it afterwards. Violet is a frontline healer. I love it. Hi, Megan. No, you are not late. We are right in the middle of the call of the lesson for today. I also joined the Divine Community. Yay, I love it. Yes, the exploration. Yeah, exactly. It's all about the exploration. So there's 3 archetypes. We've already heard of 2: Earth Healer, Frontline Healer, and Ethereal Healer. Those are the 3 archetypes that exist. Now, I'm going to define a couple things for you. So depending on which one you are, you're going to want to take notes, because I'm going to share some key things that you need to keep in mind depending on what your healer archetype is. So first one that we're going to talk about is Earth Healer. Now, I want you to remember a keyword. For those of you who are Earth Healers, your keyword is peace. So in everything that you do and everywhere how you show up, your key thing is peace. You bring peace, you create peace, you foster this energy of peace. That's one of the skills. That's one of the gifts that you hold. Now, one of the key things that you also do that is a gift, Earth healers are really, really good at this, is that they help to bring abstract ideas, these complex ideas into a more simple form that's easier to understand and that's easier to like digest. That's easier to go and understand something. So if you think about someone who is going through an immense challenging time in their life and maybe they're experiencing a lot of different emotions and it just feels like this like tangly thing, right? Like if you've ever gone through any sort of experience, which I'm sure we all have here, of something where it just feels like there's a lot of complex emotions, there's a lot of complexity because there's this situation and that situation. What do I do? What's the right move? I don't know. I'm feeling all these emotions. I'm feeling angry. I'm feeling sad. I'm feeling all blah, blah, blah. And so it's just like this complex ball of energy. They're just like, I don't even want to do anything. I just want to curl up in a ball and sleep for the next 10 years because I don't want to deal with this. And so for Earth healers, they have a gift to take that complex ball of emotions and energy that's happening or that someone's experiencing and help to simplify, help to untangle, help to unravel in order for that person to be able to process through whatever they're going through and get to the other side and receive clarity to be able to be free from the heavy weight of those complex emotions. So Earth healers bring peace. Again, think about that. If you're in turmoil and you have all this chaos and you have all this complexity and you're working with an Earth healer and they help to simplify it and unravel and go through it and process it in a way that is not overwhelming, it's going to lead you to peace. You're going to experience inner peace. So for my Earth healers, this is one of your gifts, is that you bring peace in this way by creating simplicity from complex situations. So your role is to ground and simplify energy. Your role, can't say that word, is to bring peace and calm. Now, the way in which you do it, there's many different ways. What I have seen is that Earth healers tend, now this isn't a hard and fast rule, so there's a tendency, but it doesn't mean that that's the like, that's the only pathway. But there is a tendency for Earth healers to be drawn towards things like art, like being an artist or being a creator of some sort, where there's a lot of this abstract ideas and again, like this complexity that they channel into a simplified version to receive. So even with like musicians, for example, they could potentially be Earth healers because they're taking, again, this complex situations or emotions or whatever, and then simplifying it and bringing it into a more simple form in order to experience peace. Now, the key thing that I want you to remember as I go through all three archetypes is that the key thing isn't necessarily to focus on like, oh, okay, so I guess my career path has to be an artist, but it's more so about how you use your gifts. So you could have three, let's say, coaches or mentors and each one is a different archetype. So you could have an Earth healer coach, an Ethereal Healer coach, and a Frontline Healer coach. And so let's say they're all spiritual coaches, okay? But their approach to how they are coaching someone and how they guide people through a journey is going to be different. Now, if you are already a coach, for example, and you know that you're an Earth healer, then you are going to be thinking about in the back of your mind and everything that you do and how you work with clients is peace. How can I help cultivate peace? How can I help create inner peace through the process of taking this complex, whatever thing that they're experiencing right now, and simplifying it and helping them to then and guiding them through this journey of going from this complex, overwhelming, I feel stuck, I don't know how to move forward, into, oh, okay, this is simple and I can process and now I can reach this moment of inner peace. So that's the approach that you're taking as an Earth healer versus ethereal healer who's also a spiritual coach, who's also a spiritual mentor, working with the same client, is going to take a different approach, which I will get to in a second. We'll get to that in a second. And I'll talk about the Frontline Healer's approach as well. So I wanted to think of that as well. Take that into consideration. Same job, same role, same way of supporting people, but the actual process is going to be different. And the reason why is because you have different gifts. You have different ways of expressing and bringing that to light for other people. And so when you lean into your particular gifts, depending on your archetype, it's no longer going to feel like an uphill battle. And let me tell you, before I received this download and understood the archetypes, so my breakdown is that I'm primary ethereal healer, which I know we haven't talked about the other ones yet. We're going to get there. But so I'm a primary ethereal. That's like my main one. And then secondary is frontline. And then third is earth healer for me personally. I used to think that the only way to do the work that I'm doing is through the frontline healer's lens, which again, I'll talk about that in a second. But I used to think that I had to do it as a frontline healer. Like, that was my main thing. And so I did a lot of my like offers and the way I ran my business, and like everything that I did was from a frontline healer perspective, which is fine because I do like, it's like a medium. Like, I forget the exact, I think I'm like, I want to say 75% ethereal and like 20% um frontline, and then like 6% earth, something like that. So I mean, majority is still ethereal, but I do have that frontline part of me that comes alive in certain situations, but it's not meant to lead the way. But I was leading my business and I was leading my work as a healer through the frontline because I thought that that was the way I was supposed to do it. And to be honest, it's because I saw a lot of people doing it that way. So I thought, well, that's how it is. That's how I should do it too. And even though it's, the way that I showed up and supported people was still successful, I realized that had a tendency to experience burnout, or had a tendency of like just feeling like losing passion and losing that sense of like, oh, like I'm so excited to do this. I just felt like I was, working myself because I felt like I had to, and I felt like I had to do this, and like, and I got to that point. And then once this came through and I discovered this and I realized this, I was like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. That makes so much sense why that way made me caused me to experience burnout and caused me to experience this like losing of a passion in some ways, and it felt like sometimes they would be like this, like I had to force myself, versus now doing things from an ethereal healer perspective. It's like has blown my mind, and it has completely changed the game, and it makes it so much easier to show up and do my work and not experience burnout because I just know myself on this deeper level now. And so that's the beauty of understanding your archetype, is how much it changes your approach. And again, it's not like you have to go and like completely change your business if you already have a business. Like, I didn't change my business. I didn't change my role. I didn't change any of that part, but I changed my approach. And when I changed my approach, it was like a total game changer in my life personally, and also in how I showed up as a mentor and as a teacher. Like, it's just a whole different ball game when it comes to that. And so that's why I feel like this is such powerful information for you to know, because it is going to change the game for you. So that's just an FYI, okay? With regards to this. So I really want you to think about this, is, and obviously we're still going to go through the other two archetypes right now, but if you are an earth healer, I want you to start to think about your current business, if you already have a business, or your potential business that you're thinking about, or just in general, how you show up in your life right now. So even if you don't have like an exact career or business or whatever as a healer yet, but you're thinking about it, or you're like, maybe I'm just, finding clarity. I want you to at least think about it from the perspective of your everyday life and maybe your current job, even if it's a job that is like corporate career, has nothing to do with what you want to do as a healer, but it's what you're doing right now in your current role, in your career, in your family life, in your relationships, like with yourself. You can apply this lens of earth healer, whatever archetype healer, to your everyday life,. To everything. And once you do that, once you start looking at it from that lens, the like I said, it's a whole game changer. It completely like makes sense then why you feel a certain way about certain things, or why doing things a certain way just has always felt like a struggle. It get like the archetypes give you permission to do things the way that you actually want to do it versus doing it the way someone says you should just because they found success in it. You know what I mean? So yeah, so I really love this. Okay, let me see what you guys are saying, and then we're gonna move on to Ethereal Healer. Okay. I think I'm more than a healer. Is that possible? Yeah, absolutely. You could have multiple things going on. But like what I was saying at the beginning, maybe you missed this part, but a healer can show up in many different ways. And so it doesn't necessarily have to be that you show up and do hands-on healing. You can still be a healer and be a musician or be an artist, but you're still a healer, you know? And I've experienced that, like, as another example just showed up, many of you probably know or aware of this Archangel Oracle card deck that I created almost a year ago. And the artist, Nina Catherine, who has created such incredible, beautiful art, she is an artist. Like, that's what she does. So she doesn't necessarily work with people one-on-one as a healer that you might think, but her artwork is so healing. Like, her artwork is so beautiful. And it's just like, oh, I have all the angel cards up here. Okay, that's cool. There's no other. Let me see. Let me find a message card just to show you guys. I know we're going a little bit off track, but I just have to show you this as an example. Like, her art is so beautiful. And it's like, you could say, yeah, well, she's just an artist, but actually she's still a healer. She's just healing through art because she's channeling healing frequencies through the art, So just wanted to share that as an example. Okay, let's continue. Let's see. Okay, Aisha got Frontline Healer. Awesome. I love it. We will talk about that in a second. By the way, Christina, your energy is on fire. Oh, thank you, Megan. I'm having so much fun. I always love hanging out with you guys live. I'm a musician and a songwriter, and it happens a lot that people get super relaxed and peaceful hearing me play. Yes, Maxine, I love that. I love it. I love it. Did you do the quiz? Wait, did I see your? I don't think you're shared in the comments. What your archetype is, but I'm curious now to hear if you are an earth healer. Okay. Yeah, do the quiz afterwards and let me know. Let me know in the comments, like in the replay after you do the quiz. Okay, so that is earth healer. So let's move on. Okay. Yes. Okay, awesome. Okay, so let's move on to ethereal and then talk about frontline. So for my ethereal healers, if you are an ethereal healer, you need to write down this keyword. Your keyword is elevate. So for earth healers, your keyword is peace. For ethereal healers, your keyword is elevate. You are here to elevate thinking. You're here to elevate consciousness. You're here to elevate the way in which we operate as a collective and as individuals. So you may have heard, and I've talked about this many times in the past as well, but you may have heard just across, different spiritual teachers and people online talking about this shift into a new paradigm, how old paradigm is breaking and crumbling down, and how we are here to rebuild a new way of being. So ethereal healers, they teach about this. They teach about the new paradigms. They help support and encourage a new way of thinking. They help you to open up your awareness. So for ethereal healers, your keyword is to elevate. You are elevating. So think about that, like elevating. How am I elevating the room when I walk in? And so for earth healers, it's when I walk into the room, how am I creating this energy of peace and emanating this energy of frequency of peace? For ethereal healers, you are walking into a room and thinking, how am I elevating this space right now? Okay. So like I said, it's you're elevating thinking, you're elevating the way in which people approach a certain situation, you're teaching about the new paradigm, a new way of doing things. Typical careers, but not necessarily, again, for, like I was saying, for earth healers, typical, but not necessarily like this is the only path, but typically if you are an ethereal healer, you typically will be called to do something like writing. So being a writer, being an author, or speaking, and kind of having more of not a one-on-one, but more so like a one-to-many, right? If you think about books, you write the book and it can reach millions of people. If you think about being a speaker, you're on stage and you could be talking to 100 people, 1,000 people, 10,000 people, whatever. So that's the kind of energy that ethereal healers hold, that they bring through. They're more of a one-to-many and kind of like in that teaching mode, because they are helping people understand a new way of thinking, a new paradigm, a new way of being. Okay. Again, we're going to go to that example that I shared with Earth Healer. And if you think about the same role as a spiritual coach or mentor, the Earth Healer's approach and how they would approach it as an ethereal healer, you're going to approach it from a different perspective. Rather than thinking like, okay, this is a complex situation, let me help to simplify. As an ethereal healer, you're going to think about it as, what is a shift in perspective that this person needs right now? This is a complex situation. They're going through a lot of emotions. They're going through a lot of complex chaos, like whatever. This is the whole thing. But rather than the Earth Healer's approach of like simplification and peace, the ethereal healer is like, let me elevate. I'm going to elevate you out of this. Like, let's elevate out of this by looking at new perspectives, looking at a shift in your thinking, and a different approach to how you are viewing the situation, so that you can be open to divine solutions coming in. And the divine solution is going to lead you. So it's shifting how you're approaching that particular situation, and you're guiding people through a different way, a way that they probably didn't see, and a way that they probably didn't even realize existed. And you're shifting their energy. So if that situation is causing them to feel, lower vibrational energy and like heavy emotions and all these things, your focus is, I'm going to help to bring you up and give you different practices, techniques, different, maybe a part of your work is bringing through that healing frequency in this particular way, where you're literally elevating their vibration. Because in elevating their vibration, you're helping them to integrate the new way of thinking and the new way of being. So that is your approach as an ethereal healer. Again, same job, same role, but different approach. Okay, so those are my ethereal healers. Let me see. I see Sandy just joined in. I just started watching How Do We Know What Kind of Healer We Are? The pinned link that's at the top of the chat is the link to the Healer Archetype quiz that I developed. I'm trying to think, when did I develop it? The archetype stuff started to come through about a year ago. And then shortly after that, I developed the quiz. Well, maybe like 3 to 4 months after that. So anyways, the quiz is there. The link to the quiz is the pinned comment at the top of the chat. So when you do the quiz, you'll receive an email from me that tells you what your main archetype is. You're welcome. Let's see, Megan saying, I love writing. That's amazing. Hugo saying, this is a musician gathering. I'm a professional musician. Yes, I love that. Shout out to all of the incredible musicians here. I love it. Okay. So as you can see, ethereal healers have a different way of approaching things. They're here to elevate. So your keyword, that's why I want you to always think of what your keyword is. That's why I'm telling you your keyword. And that's the question that you always keep in the back of your mind. How am I here to elevate? How am I here to bring peace? Okay. And so for yourself, your focus for your own growth, as an ethereal healer, is looking at how you can elevate your thoughts, how you manage your own vibrational energy. So you have a role of like really being aware of your energy and elevating it, and just taking care of it in a deeper way, because your job is to hold that space for other people to learn and to grow in that new elevated way of thinking. Okay. And then same thing for for the earth healers, for your own personal growth, you're focusing on how you are staying grounded and connected and centered within yourself. Because when you're centered and grounded within yourself, that's when you experience your inner peace. And when you are experiencing that inner peace, then it's much easier for you to guide other people through the experiences of inner peace. Now, also, I just have to say this for, everyone listening and watching, that, depending obviously on what your healer archetype is, it doesn't mean that you have to be perfect at it. So it doesn't mean that as an earth healer, you always have to be zen and like inner peace. And if you're not in inner peace, then that means that you're failing, like not at all. Same thing with the ethereal. If you are, thinking about how is my energy elevating and is my energy elevated enough? And then it feels like you're having a hard day and it feels like your energy is like plummeting down. I don't want you to feel like, okay, you're failing as a healer. Not at all. We have permission. We have full permission to have our days and our moments. That's why we're human. That's why healing is a never-ending job. And so I don't want you to feel like if you experience that, it's taking you out or like you're not as good anymore or whatever. It's just a guiding point for you to think about in your everyday life. And so when you do get triggered or when you do experience things, you can start to think about, wait, okay, as an earth healer, what's my first thing that I need to focus on right now in the situation that is triggering me? Oh yeah, centering myself and connecting to inner peace. And then you're going to focus on connecting with inner peace. And you can call on Archangel Ariel to support you with that. For ethereal healers, your focus when you're triggered is to elevate and to take care of your energy, like elevate your thinking or pray for support to help shift your perspective, which, doesn't mean that has to happen right away, but it's just a sense of a prayer like, okay, please help me to see things from a different perspective because right now I feel fear and anxiety and I'm triggered. So please help me, and you can call on Archangel Gabriel as your main support system for my ethereal healers. Okay, let's move on to frontline healers. Before we do that, let me just quickly check in here. Violet saying, "Oh, somebody tell me they're resonating with shifting the approach because how rewarding does it feel? So rewarding." Yes, I love that. Massage therapy, but oh, so much more. Yes, I love that, Cheryl. Yes, and you could have different modalities too. Like massage therapy is just one approach to it, and then there's so many more. So yeah. Okay. So frontline healer. Let's continue. Your keyword so my frontline healers, write this down. Your keyword is inspire. You are here to inspire. You are inspiring people to take action. You are inspiring people to make a change. You inspire people to go from, I can't do this to, you know what? Actually, I can. So for all like anyone who like let's just imagine you're talking to someone and they're just like, I don't know, I can't do this, like I don't know how, I just feel so mer, 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 mer. And then they talk to you, the frontline healer, and you inspire them and you just say the right words or do the, whatever, are a prime example. And all of a sudden you've inspired that person who was like in this zone of like, I can't, I'm blocked, I'm stuck. You've inspired them, you've helped them bust through that block and be like, you know what? I can, and I will, and I'm going to make it happen. So you inspire change. You inspire this transformation for people to go for it and to take action. Okay. You're inspiring people to see new possibilities. So your role is to lead by example. You lead by example, you inspire by example, and your focus, again, is around helping them to get unstuck and unblocked by shifting any limiting beliefs, shifting what people are believing about themselves in that moment, and showing them that there's another way. There's actually this other way that you can do this, and you have it within you to do it. So you are an inspiration. And so the careers that are that a lot of frontline healers are drawn towards are things where you are working one-on-one with people, because you're working with people, you're talking to them, you have a lot of this like interpersonal skills. And it doesn't mean that the other healer archetypes don't have interpersonal skills. Of course you do. And as I've shared, there's a percentage. So it's like we all have each of these types of healer archetypes. So if you're listening to this and you're like, wait, yes, that's me. No, that's me. No, that's me. Then you might have an even split. It's what I call when your percentages are so close to each other that it's like 33.3, 33.3, 33.3, which is possible. I have worked with people who have had more of that even split. So that's the other thing to keep in mind with the healer archetype quiz, is that there is a deeper nuance, is that not only do you have a primary, but you might have, depending on your percentages, like a majority here or even split, or two that are primary and one that's kind of more of a secondary. There's different combinations that can happen. So when you take the quiz, you're going to receive a series of emails. And I talk about that in those emails, and how to, depending on what your breakdown is, how to understand the deeper level of each of the archetypes. So I highly recommend you take the quiz, and then be ready to receive those emails over the next few days, because I go into deep detail over there through that. But that's besides the point. The point here is that when you are a frontline healer, you have these interpersonal skills that are at the forefront that help you to be a coach, or that kind of direct you in that way where you are working with people one-on-one. Or perhaps also roles where you are a director, like a manager. So you also have a skill of being able to see people, kind of like manage teams. So, and you might even have a corporate role right now where you are kind of like a manager or a director or whatever. And so you have a gift to be able to see people and how people work with each other, and to create an environment that feels inspiring for people. Like if you ever had a job where, one or the other, either you had like a toxic environment because the manager was not doing their job as a manager, and people like weren't in the roles that they needed to be, and it was just kind of a whole mess. Or maybe you've had really, really great work relationships in like a corporate setting, but it's because you had a really great manager and you really had a great like team building experience, because that manager had this gift to be able to see people and how they're meant to work together and inspire people to show up for their actual role, for their job. So that's another thing that frontline healers do. So again, going back to the example that I shared of the same as a frontline healer, you have the same job as a coach or as a spiritual mentor. You're seeing the same client with that big ball of turmoil and chaotic energy. But as a frontline healer, your approach is going to be different. Once again, you are going to guide that client through a process of helping them to move past limiting beliefs, helping them to see things from a different point of view that inspires them to take action. So you're more action oriented, and your way to bust through blocks is by being like, okay, these are the steps that you're going to take, and I know that you can do it. I believe in you. And you like light this fire under their butt. That's like, okay, I'm going to do it, because you just have that gift. You just have that way of talking to people, of inspiring them, that gets people moving. And so that's the key thing here to understand. Again, the exact same situation, but a different approach depending on what your healer archetype is. And all of them are powerful. All of them are going to work. But if you are a frontline healer who's trying to do things as an earth healer, it's not going to be as powerful, because that's not your thing. And the same thing, if you're an earth healer, but you're trying to do things like a frontline healer, like, yeah, it's going to be good, but it's not going to be great. The greatness lies when you allow your natural gifts to come alive. That is where the magic is. So I want you to take some time right now. Okay, we're going to do like a couple minutes of reflection. Maybe you already have some reflections that are coming through based on what I just shared with the archetypes, but I want you to just sit with this for a second. And like I was saying, or if you want to write this down and take more time after this call to reflect further on this, but this is what you're going to reflect on. One, your first homework is going to be to go do the quiz if you haven't done it yet. that you know what your archetype is, your primary archetype. So that's the first thing that you're going to do. Then, based on your archetype, I want you to then reflect on what I just shared, reflect on how you already cultivate or bring in your keyword. So, whether it's peace for earth healers, elevate for ethereal healers, or inspire for frontline healers, how you bring that naturally in your everyday life right now. So, forget business or like being a healer or whatever. I just want you to think about that in your everyday life, in your relationships, in your current career or job, like whatever you do right now, and just think about how that shows up naturally for you already. Or also to think about, where have you suppressed that natural tendency to want to do things like that simply because you thought that it was, like, oh, like who cares about that? Like, who cares if I try to walk someone through a practice to bring more inner peace? Like, they just want to be inspired instead. You know what I mean? But it's actually like they need inner peace, and you're the earth healer to help them with that. So I want you to think of that, where you naturally already bring those gifts into your everyday life, and also maybe where you've held back from that in your everyday life because you thought no one cared, or you thought it wasn't important enough. Okay. I want you to think about where you felt connected to that, and begin now, as you show up in your everyday life, like, have this in the back of your mind as, I'm an ethereal healer, so I'm here to elevate. When I walk into this room, how am I elevating the room? And just having that, like, those questions in the back of your mind, and then see how life starts to shift for you. See how people start to respond differently to you based on that like, you're slightly shifting things all in your life, but this shift, this tweak is going to make a powerful difference. It's the thing that I forget where I heard this, but I heard this a couple years ago, and I'll never forget it. But it's kind of like, if you think about, you're walking on this path, and in order to shift your path, it doesn't have to be a like a major shift in the direction that you're going. Just a simple 1 degree shift in the trajectory will lead you in a completely different place. If you think about that path, like if this is path A and then this is path B, and path B is now shifting by just a couple degrees, these two paths are now going in different directions. So you don't have to have a whole like 180. You don't have to turn around and like go a different way, or like opposite, or 90 degree angle. You can just have like a 2 or 3 degree shift, and it'll change the trajectory. So this is what I'm talking about here. And like I shared with my example, when I shifted that in my business from frontline to ethereal, it's like mind blowing. So mind blowing how it changed how I viewed myself, how I viewed my work, and how I showed up in my work. So different, but so, so powerful. Okay. Okay. Let me know if you have any questions right now. Let me see. Let me see. I work in social services. Is that in alignment with Frontline Healer? Yes, absolutely. Because you're working one-on-one with people, or like maybe not one-on-one, but small groups of people. And it's also like, to me, it feels like there's like maybe some management stuff, and just kind of having an overall sense of people in interpersonal relationships. So absolutely. Yes, Aisha. I tested this frontline, but also resonate with ethereal. Yay. I love that. Wow. That resonates so much about inspiring. Yes. I love it. And yeah, like I said, there's so much more nuance to it because of the fact that there's breakdowns. If you resonated with both, Candy, then you most likely have higher percentages for those two, and your earth healer is probably a lower percentage. But like I was saying before, we all have all of these archetypes. It's just that there's different breakdown. And this is one of the things that we go deeper into inside of the healer program, which I'll talk about in a second. For those of you who want to go deeper, who are excited to go deeper with us, this is just like surface level that we just talked about. There's so much more to cover with regards to this. But, that's why there's a whole program dedicated to supporting healers on their path, which I'll share about in a second. So for those of you who are here, who are resonating with this, who are like, yes, I'm a healer. Yes, I'm ready to explore more when it comes to my potential as a healer. I'm going to share with you what that next step is if you feel called to it. But let me just go through here these comments here. Hi, Faye. I'm late, but here I'm getting back into frontline reflexology. I love it. Yes. And no worries. The replay is going to be available after I jump off. Usually it posts within like a couple minutes, so you'll be able to catch up. Um, okay. Let me see here. Hugo's saying the front line is being a conflictive one. Yes. Oh my gosh, I love that. I feel connected to 3 worlds and see the 111, 222, 333. I love it, Megan. Hello, Shiloh Crystals. Grand evening. I'm an Earth Healer. Yes, I love it. And based on your YouTube name, it sounds like you have crystals, which is so perfect for an Earth Healer. That's amazing. But yeah, if you just joined, then definitely catch the replay because I shared more about Earth Healer, and all that good stuff. I love it. Okay, Sandy is an Earth Healer. It makes sense. I love being outside. I love that so much. Um, Yay, Candy. I'm so happy that you're here too. And yeah, this is only day 1. So for those of you who are just joining in, 1, the replay will be posted. 2, this is just day 1. We still have 2 more days. So tomorrow, definitely try to show up live. We are going to be doing a live guided meditation to connect with the angels. And tomorrow, I'm going to go deeper into working with the angels, which, by the way, they're just reminding me right now that for frontline healers, I shared the main angel that you can call on for the other 2 archetypes. But for my frontline healers, Archangel Metatron is the one who's coming forward for you to call on Metatron to support you in your work as a frontline healer. So, just as an FYI. All right. So let's see. One's energy. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Let me know. Um, let me know what you mean, Hugo. What does a typical session with you look like? What are some of the gifts that you bring? Oh, I love that question, Maxine. So it's definitely a combination of like coaching in the sense of, me asking you questions and kind of through those questions helping to uncover or remove layers to understand whatever's happening on a deeper level. But a huge part of it is the angels that come through. So anyone who's done a session with me knows that it's like they'll start sharing, like the person will start sharing and talking and explaining what's going on. And as they're sharing, like I'm sensing the angels that are coming in to support them. And then as they kind of like share their thing, I'm like, okay, Angel Celeste is the one who's coming in, and this is what she's saying, or this is what she's showing me. And for me personally, the way that channeling happens is that it's a combination. Like a big part is my clairvoyance. I would say that's probably one of my strongest senses is clairvoyance because that's how I see the angels that come through. So I physically see them. Well, not physically, but like in my third eye, I see them coming in. I see their color, I see their energy. And they show me things. Like I start to see imagery in my third eye and they show me things. And that's when I start to understand what the guidance is that's coming through. So I will share like Angel Celeste is showing me blah, 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 blah. And this is what she's guiding. And then secondary to that is I hear them. So they will say stuff or share certain messages. And so I just kind of like repeat that to the person. And then it's, intertwined with my own just knowledge and experience of, whatever my personal experience or journey that I've learned that I can relate to that person and then like, share advice that way too. So it's a combination of those things. And then lastly, depending on if the angels guide this for that person, I also guide people through an energy healing with the angels. So that's where I kind of like prompt you to close your eyes and I, channel their healing for that person and am like, through my voice guiding them through whatever's happening. And yeah, and that's the experience. And we talk about that experience, whatever comes in, whatever insights and anything else. And then usually the session closes off with kind of like next action steps. So, whatever guidance the angels share, like do this thing 3 times a week or practice doing this or start calling on this angel to work with you and whatever. So obviously it depends on the particular situation, but that's the general flow of the sessions. Okay, let's see. Yeah, absolutely no problem, Faye. Violet is saying, I'm noticing that I feel like I'm an earth healer who is supported by the ethereal healer archetype. Ooh, I love that. I love it. Let's see. When one is doing the healing work, one feels drained. Vampires that comes hiding. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying, Hugo. Kind of like if you feel drained, like when you're talking to someone and it's kind of like the energy vampires and you feel like your energy is being like taken, for lack of a better word, by that person. So that's my understanding of what you're asking, and that's a really great question. The key thing that I would say with that is that it's all about the energetic boundaries that you hold. That is a key for healers, especially if you are working in a way as a frontline healer, for example, where there is a lot of actual energetic, like almost think of it as like an energetic wall where you're not blocking yourself from being able to understand what's going on with someone, because that's an important gift to be sensitive to other people and to have an awareness like that empathy uh gift is important, but it's without taking on their energy. And like Hugo is saying, in that sense where someone, like most likely that person isn't trying to drain your energy, but it's just that they're like the way that their energy is, it's almost like it's seeking for these open, like this openness and trying to take that in. So you want to like have that energetic boundary where you can still interact with someone who's a quote unquote energetic vampire, but they're not taking your energy. And you'll notice that when you create that boundary, that person most likely isn't as like what's the word, like trying to talk to you as much, so to speak, just because they feel like, oh, like I need to find somewhere else, like I need to find someone else that I can suck their blood, like take their energy. Not that they're doing that on a conscious level, like it's all subconscious. They're not doing that on purpose. At least for the most part, I don't believe people are doing that on purpose. They just don't realize that that's what their energy is like. So yeah, I hope that helps. I hope that makes sense. Yeah, Maxine, you're so welcome. Okay, let me know if there's any other questions while I wait for any other questions. And for those of you, by the way, who are on the replay, if you do have questions, you can post them in the comments below. But what I want to share with you now and invite you into, for those of you who are on this path pursuing your purpose as a healer, you resonated with what we chatted about today, and you want to go deeper. Right now, the doors are open for the Healer program, but only for a limited time. Doors close on November 22nd. Essentially, the Healer program is my angelic healing certification program. I've been running this program since 2019, and every year it just keeps getting better and better and better and better. And this year, this round of it is no different. It is such a beautiful program that combines the practical skills that you need to learn as a healer, where we explore your skills, your clairs, your ability to channel healing frequencies, your ability to connect with the angels, all of that, the practical side with the actual exploration and discovery side, and understanding the different nuances that make you unique as a healer. So this is where the healer archetype stuff comes in that I shared. Is like so dependent on what your breakdown is. It's where you get to understand the ways in which you're meant to work with people, your true purpose, your connection with others, your connection to the divine's vision for you, and helping you to understand that on a deeper level so that you can pursue that path with confidence, with clarity, and with this sense of, I can do this, because you have the skills to back it up. And so that's why this program is like a hybrid program where there are self-study modules that are released on a bi-weekly basis. And then on the opposite week, that's where we meet to connect, where I'm sitting with you, I'm mentoring you, I'm guiding you, coaching you, all of that good stuff. So it's a combination where you're receiving that one-on-one feedback, support, guidance, everything to support you, combined with the actual teaching. And what happens is that it's this magical space and container that leads you through the transformation. The modules are very specifically planned that they build upon each other. So we start module 1 with like the basics around your energy, creating boundaries with your energy, understanding your sensitivity, being able to connect to your chakras and aura. So we start there, and then we gradually build all the way up to the advanced stuff, the advanced techniques where you're connecting with the angels, where you are learning how to do past life healing regressions. You're learning how to connect with the Akashic records. You learn how to work with ancestors, like all of this work that is built, it builds over time. So in total, it is a 4-month program. And like I said, it's a combination of the self-study with the support, where I'm there leading you and guiding you through the whole way. One of the things that I decided to do is I had an early bird promotion where I had these 2 amazing bonuses that I was including, which was the Angelic Healing Blueprint, as well as sending you the Angelic Healing Kit. And it was gonna go away with the early bird, but I'm telling you, like, I'm like putting everything together for the kits, and it's so good. And for the blueprint too, it's so good that I was like, everyone needs this. So everyone who signed up so far is receiving those things, but also you still get to join and have those bonuses right now, even though we're not an early bird anymore. But I decided to keep those bonuses for those of you who decide to join during this enrollment period. So like I said, enrollment period is for a short time. November 22nd is the last day to sign up. But as soon as you join, you'll be able to take advantage of the blueprint and receiving that. You will receive your kits shortly in the mail. For those of you who have already joined, I'm waiting on one last thing to come in to be able to then send out the full kit. You're going to love it. It's a surprise. It's amazing. And I actually have other surprises up my sleeve for those of you who are joining. So I'm really, really excited for this. I'm going to leave the link for the healer program in the comments once again, or in the chat box, I should say. Let me see. Okay, here we go. It's in the chat box. I'm going to replace the pinned comment now. Replace it once again. For those of you watching on the recording, I'm going to post all the links that we talked about today in the description, so you can go check out all the things. But this is like, if you are in that space where you're like, I'm done with staying in this like stuck position. I'm ready to explore more. I want to explore more. I want to be guided. I want to be supported. I want to learn. I'm ready to receive this knowledge. And this program is definitely your next step. It's going to bring you clarity. It's going to bring you confidence. It's going to help you to feel confident in your skills. And it's going to help you to master your craft, your true craft as a healer. One of the things that I am very clear about in this work that I do with you is this is not a cookie cutter approach to try and do things the way that I do it exactly. And I learned that very early on, that it's not about like, here, do this like me. But actually, I want you to know what your thing is. And I'm here to help you, to guide you in understanding your unique way, your unique process. And it's so beautiful because the people who come into this program, like, they emerge out of it with so many different ideas, or just a deep newfound sense of direction when it comes to their work. One client that comes to mind that's such a beautiful example is she came in to this without really kind of knowing. She was like, am I a healer? I don't know. Like, maybe I just feel called to this, so I'm going to do it. And on the other side of it, she is now leading divine feminine retreats. Like, she works with the divine feminine, and she supports people in helping to access and awaken that divine feminine. And it's just like she's immersed in that world. And the skills that she's learned through the healer program has been a huge support in helping her and how she guides and holds space for her clients and for the people who attend her retreats. So it's just such a beautiful thing. And like I said, my goal through this program is not for you to emerge out of it and like try to do what I do, unless that's actually what you're supposed to do. Unless you're actually supposed to do something very similar, then of course that's your path. But if it's something else, this healer program is going to show you that. It's going to be like the launching off point into who you truly are. And so, um, like I said, doors are open for a limited time. The link is there. Go check it out. Go read or listen. There's some videos there that you can listen of other people's experiences, and come and join me. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to me. The best way is through Instagram DMs, or you can always reach out through the contact form on my website. Or if you receive my emails, like my reminder emails and my newsletters, then you can always just hit reply and that goes straight to me. So you can do that if you have any questions about this program. If you want to know if it's the right fit for you, I will tell you honestly, like honest, like yes or no, because it's just one of those things where I can just sense and know, and I would never tell someone that they should do this if I sense that they're not supposed to, um, so I will let you know if that's the case and if you're curious to know about that. So I think that's it in terms of the details. Otherwise, I cannot wait to see you all tomorrow for day 2. You will receive a reminder email if you signed up. And like I said, tomorrow we're going to explore all things angels and go deeper in that connection. So bring your questions about the angels if you have any, especially as it relates to healing and connecting with the angels for healing purposes. And when it comes to your role as a healer, reflect on this work that we did today when it comes to your healer archetype. And you are welcome to post in the comments. Once I post the replay, post in the comments what your reflections are when it comes to your archetype, what your archetype is, how it shows up for you already, that main keyword, how that energy, those gifts show up already in your everyday life, and where maybe you're holding them back, and how you can maybe start to make different decisions. So I can't wait to hear from you, and I can't wait to see you tomorrow for day 2. Yay! Okay. Let's see. Let's see. You are so welcome, everyone. Sending abundant blessings to all in these miraculous times. I love it. Thank you. We are our greatest healer. Yes, 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 yes. What is one of your favorite things about the angelic realms? Ooh, Violet, coming in with these deep questions. That's actually a really good question. I feel like my favorite thing is just how much, like, when we call on the angelic realms and when we really fully place our trust and faith in the angelic realms, how much it actually shifts our focus and shifts our energy. And to me, it just feels like it's just such a powerful way for us to be led and guided in our journey. So it doesn't matter which angel. It's like, that's the thing. It's like you can call on Archangel Raphael or Archangel Metatron or Angel Celeste or whoever. And it's just like they will support you and they will help shift your energy and how you're perceiving things. And it's just about having that faith and trust in it. Okay, let's see. It is totally time for us to step into and claim our ability to spontaneously heal anything. Candy saying this sounds so awesome. Thank you, Christina. Hope to see you tomorrow. Yes, definitely. You are trustworthy. Aw, thank you, Hugo. I appreciate that. Okay. Thank you all for spending your time here with me. I am sending you all so much love, so many angel blessings, and I will see you tomorrow for day 2. Bye.